But I was on the ground, he was on the ground, she was on the ground. And I just started punching him in the ribs. This is actually a story we have quite literally never told publicly at all.
Yeah.
We had a dog and he disappeared from social media and we never said a word about why or what happened.
Yeah.
And we got him in 2017, I believe. Story I'm going to tell you is from 2019. But before I do, first, he was not an intelligent dog. He was really, I mean, do you agree? He was really dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But he was really, really sweet. And we had young kids. I think Aiden at the time would have been like 3 or 4, right? When we got him.
Mm-hmm.
And Ariana would have been around 7. Fast forward 2019, he's 150 pounds. So we had an electric fence put in and I was teaching him the perimeter, not shocking him, just bringing him up to the flags so that he knew what the beeps meant. Walking him around as the professional who installed it taught me to do. So he was on a leash and we were walking around in the yard and then we were done. And our neighbor's little girl was there. I think she was about 7 at the time.
Yeah, before you move on, I think it's important to know, too, just for them, that she had a good relationship with the previous owners, and so she would always come over there and play all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's important to know that. So her being little, I don't think she knew. I mean, yeah, we moved in, but she was used to just coming back and forth.
And they ended up, she ended up playing with our kids all the time.
Yeah.
Like, they hung out all the time. Kind of like the good old days when we were younger. But anyway, so she was there. And she came up and I was done training him and we were walking back towards the garage and he was still on a leash and she said, "Can I pet him?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. He's very sweet." I remember saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made him sit. And I remember she was just at head level with him. She may have been a little shorter.
Yeah.
And he sat and I've been around dogs all my life. There was no warning for what was going to happen next. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay. And she reached up to pet him on the head and he kind of moved forward a little bit. And in that moment, I genuinely thought he was about to lick her face. Mm-hmm. That was what went through my mind because we had little kids and he was very used to them. And he had met her before. She wasn't new to him.
Yep.
And so... he didn't. He latched onto her. He bit her up on the upper shoulder near her neck, mm-hmm. upper arm. The problem was that he didn't just bite. He latched on and then he pulled her down on the ground.
Yeah.
Still biting. And because he was on a leash, I went down with him. Now, he's bigger than me, heavier than me, stronger than me. And in that moment, with him quite literally pinning her down, mm-hmm. still latching on to her, very close to her neck. Mm-hmm. The first thing that popped into my mind was, he's going to kill her. I remember that sentence, in my head. He's going to kill her. And I remember thinking, her life flashed before my eyes. I didn't know her life, but her life flashed before my eyes. And I genuinely believed we were going to be like those people that our dog killed a child. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even, time slowed down and I quite literally remember it in frames, frame by frame by frame by frame. But I was on the ground, he was on the ground, she was on the ground. And I just started punching him in the ribs. Mm-hmm. That was my instinct. I didn't even necessarily think through that. I didn't think about, could he turn on me? None of that goes through your mind. You just think, my dog is actively in predatory. He's doing she's prey and he's the predator. Mm-hmm. That's what's just happened. And I have to stop this. And so I just punched him as hard as I could in the ribs. I don't know how long it went on. It felt like an eternity. And he never yelped. It's not like it was actually hurting him, mm-hmm. Even though I was giving it all my might. And he was latched on the whole time. But somehow the punches got through or whatever, and he stopped. And from there, just fast forward, she had to get stitches, which if you know anything about dog bites, they don't typically stitch them. But with her, they needed to. Mm-hmm. They don't typically stitch them for infection reason. But but hers were bad. And I remember that you wanted to just end it there with him.
Mm-hmm.
You were ready to just, we lived in Alabama, you were ready to just be done with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I told you no, because I did not want you to have to do that to a dog you genuinely loved. I knew what that would have cost you to do that, to put him down. And so anyway, so, I was like, I knew what that would cost you. And the other problem is that we had a contract with the breeder that included a right of first refusal, which if you don't know what that means, it just basically means that if we want to get rid of this dog, she has the legal right to take him back. And then the health department calls. Now, he's up to date on all of his shots. Like, he had his rabies vaccine. And I remember when the health department guy told me, he gave us our options. Like, he said, you either keep the dog there for 10 days in quarantine and then have a vet sign off on him not having rabies, or you board him at a vet for 10 days and then have the vet sign off, or you euthanize him now. And the only way that they can test for rabies after euthanasia is the brain. So I asked him, I was like, well, the breeder wants him back. And yes, the breeder wanted him back. I said, but she wants to transport him across state lines to Louisiana. Like, can I just let her have him? And he said no. And we couldn't afford to board him for 10 days at the vet. It's extraordinarily expensive. And I remember being really irritated with him. And I didn't yell at him or anything, but I was mad. And it wasn't his fault, but it was basically like the person that's saying you're stuck with this dog for 10 days because we have a contractual obligation to this breeder that wants this dog back. And we don't want him at all. We want to be done with him right here, right now. And we can't transport him across state lines, and we can't afford to board him.
Yeah.
I was angry. But fortunately, we had at that time, we had moved in. We eventually tore it out, but we had a back deck, and then there was a garage door that went to our garage. So like a regular door, but it went into the garage. And you remember the chain link fence that ran from the garage and the deck. So what we ended up doing was he lived in the garage for that time. So we were able to do that and keep him away from our kids. I think towards the end we let them pet him or something in a very supervised, once or twice. I think we allowed them to pet him as we were getting ready to say bye. But
I can't remember, to be honest.
He genuinely seemed to have absolutely no memory of it, and confusion as to why he was all of a sudden, that part makes me sad. Not for the dog that did that, but for the dog that didn't remember doing it. That, kind of makes me sad. But anyway, what was crazy is I said that he got rehomed to somebody that had kids. He did. The breeder wanted him back. And I told her, I said, look, I need you to understand something. Number one, if this ever happens again, we're not liable. You're making this decision. I don't agree with it. It is not. It's stupid. I explained to her, I said, he intended to kill her. I need you to understand that. He did not bite her. He tried to kill her. And I said, if this had been her face, it would have been considered a mauling. Although I think you could still call it a mauling regardless. She had many bites. She still wanted him. And then she had the audacity to ask if we would be willing to meet halfway, because she was going to rehome him to someone in Louisiana. She wanted to know if we'd meet halfway, somewhere in Mississippi. And I was like, no, if you want him, you can come get him.
Yep.
And I told her, I said, I will not be on the other end of a leash with this dog and another person ever again. And so what we ended up doing was we ended up keeping him at home for 9 days, and then we boarded him at the vet for one night. And obviously told them what had happened. And then the vet was able to examine him. And then the people that took him, his new family, I guess, came and picked him up from the vet. So we said bye at the vet. That was the last time we saw him. The vet signed off, whatever. And then, we had transferred ownership, and they were authorized to come get him. And that was very much I'm not holding the leash and handing this dog to someone else. Never. No, not a chance. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I have nightmares sometimes that we still have him and I can't get rid of him.
Really?
Yeah. Have I ever told you that?
No, I don't.
It happens quite often. It's like a reoccurring dream that, for whatever reason, like I can't get someone to take him, and he's like here and he's stuck.